Hello, and welcome back.
Jumping.
My name is Khan, and this is the second
And now we will be
tutorial of
making
Unity
our
C#
players
codes for
move
Orange
around
Box Lab.
the globe. So let's get started.
So to do that, in the previous tutorial, we added some
we
components
need
to our
create
player,
a new
rigid
variable
body
that
2D
will
and
be
polygon collider, and we
flow
went through this Unity engine. And in this
force
tutorial,
X.
we will be doing some
This will
codes.
be this
We'll be
force
making our
will help
character
our
move
player
and
to move
jump.
on the x-axis.
So this will be in
And
C
I'm
sharp.
gonna set it to
as I
0 as
mentioned in the previous
default.
video. So in the
Now,
assets folder,
We'll type
let's
move
create
x, the
a new
variable
folder
we
we created on here, and I'm going
this
to
one,
name
private
this
float move x. We'll set it to
scripts. Now,
right
right click
click
on
dot
scripts
get
and create a C#
axis
script,
raw.
which I'm going
Now
to
this
name
get axis
player.
raw is an inbuilt Unity C# function.
And if
What
you,
this does is if you just
say, press
uh,
enter,
add parentheses, sorry, just
yeah,
add
and Visual
parentheses
Studio will
and
open.
in
Of
here
course,
let's
you can
type
use mono develop. For that, you
horizontal.
have to configure your
Did I spell that
default
right?
editor in Unity.
Horizontal. I think it looks good. Yeah. Now, what this will
It might
do
take a
is
while. And
now we
Visual
can
Studio
make
is a
our
bit
player
slow. You
move
have to
just by pressing
use that.
A and D keys
Yeah.
on your keyboard. Just A and D.
Yeah.
So,
when
these are
you open
inbuilt
your
Unity functions, which is
editor,
really helpful.
this window should
and
be
it is fantastic.
popping out.
Now,
Okay, so let's go through this.
let's
what
do
was in here.
something else called
This is
comment
using
this
system.collections,
type when
using
our
system.collections.generic and
player
using
is
Unity engine.
moving
What these are
left.
is inbuilt Unity
How do you know when our
libraries.
player is moving left?
You don't touch it. Just leave
When
it as
our
it is.
player
and
is
you can
moving
do
left, the code from here
I
on,
want our player.
and
This is mono behavior.
to face the
And
left.
this is
left side.
player.
And
that
when
we
our
just
player
created.
is moving
This
right,
script
we
is
want our player to
inherited
face
from
right.
this
How
mono
can we do
behavior
that?
script.
If we change
So
our
do not
scales
change your
to
player name.
1,
This-
it will see
screw
our
everything
player
up.
moves to right,
And
this
if we
is
scale our
void start to
As you can
-1.
see, it says that
She moves to
use
left.
this for
So,
initialization.
1, she's right.
Void start
Minus
is
she's left.
an
So
inbuilt
we'll
function
be accessing
of
this
Unity.
scale
Whenever the game
property
starts,
of our
this
player
function will
to
implement
change her
and
location.
void update will be
Her
implemented on every frames. First, if you don't know what frames are, it's like
Let's get head on.
it's like a
Okay.
time engine
So
for
the
computers.
The first thing we need to do here is
Okay, so the
if
first thing we need to do
is move
is to create
X
some variables.
is
For example,
less than 0.
our
Now,
our player
why less
has,
than 0? What this means is
rigid
this
body 2D
is say a
component.
graph.
This
This
is the
is the
physics
origin
of our
point.
player. We
This
need to
side,
access this rigid body 2D.
so our player
from
is
our
at the origin
code.
point.
To
When
do that,
our player goes
create a
right,
private
X
variable.
is has a positive value, so he's
Private.
going right.
and
When
the,
our player goes
type
left,
variable type
so
will
our
be
X gets
rigid
the negative
body
value.
2D,
So,
and
which
I'm
means
just
that
going
if
to
our
call
player
it
move X
body.
is less than 0, which means
now we'll be creating
when
two
our
float
player
variables.
is moving
Let's say
on
one will
her
be private,
left side,
float,
then
we
move
need to
X
what we need to do
is
and
take
another
the
will be
force X variable
private float
and set it to
is
minus
jumping.
speed. All right. And the next thing we need is to make our player
And that
walk
should
on
do
the
it.
ground.
And what
We
this will
need
do
a
is
speed. Give our force
So
X
let's
a
add the
negative
speed.
value. It will be
public.
That's going to make our
Public
character move this
float
way. On the negative side,
speed
of
is
the
equals to, I'm
x-axis.
just going to say 2.
Now, when he's on the x-axis, on the negative side of the
Now,
x-axis,
you might have a question,
we
why
need
a
a
variable?
variable
Is because of this is a
to
float type
access
variable.
our player's
Okay,
scale.
next one will be
To do that,
public.
I'm going to create a
float
vector 3
and
variable
name it
named
upper
temp.
force.
Now, why vector 3? Because this scale
This
property
upper force
has
variable will
x-axis,
work against our
y-axis,
player
and
gravity
z-axis.
to make our player
So
jump.
to access
You'll
this
see what-
property, we need
you'll see
a
what once it's
type
implemented.
that has
And
this
this
three
will be,
axes.
say,
So that will
200.
be vector 3, and this will
Alright.
be a variable named temp.
I want to show you the
And this will
difference
be
between private and public.
transform.
So if you
dot
go to our Unity engine and local scale,
Let's scroll down.
I think I
Accidentally
and
deleted
here
the variable.
I will add component.
That's it.
I'm gonna
Transform
type
dot local scale.
player. Look,
and
this
this
is
is
the
the
player's
transform,
C-sharp script
and
that
this
we
is
just
the
made.
local scale. Look,
You
it says
add that
local
now you
scaling
can see
of
that
this
we have a
object.
speed
So
variable
this is
and
the
upper
local
force
scale.
variable
So
in
the-
here.
with this
But
temp,
we do not
we're
have
accessing the local scale
the
of our player.
body
And
or
now
MoveX or
we'll set
each
our
jumping
player's
because
local
these are
scale
made private.
temp.
Okay,
Now,
so let's head on.
temp dot. What we need to
Now,
do is
why we
access
made
the
it
X
public,
property,
because
not Y,
the
not
speed
Z.
and upper
To
force
access
might
the X
be-
property, we might need to change
temp
that
X
depending on
will
our
be equals
environment
to
and
minus
situation. So
one.
that's why I made it.
Why
Why
minus
minus 1? Because
Alright, let's
when we,
start.
it's minus 1,
It's
in the very
facing
beginning,
left.
whenever
And
you
in here,
create a
you're
rigid
also
body
going
to
left.
the
So this will
component
be
or
minus
any
one.
other
And
component
now
that you
we
have
need
to
to
access
return
from this
our
Unity engine,
final
the first thing you have to do is
transformation
in your void
local
start
scale.
function.
To do that, just
you need to type
transform
body, the variable that you created,
local scale
equals to
temp.
get component, and then
We're almost done, guys.
in this braces
I'm
type
just gonna copy this.
rigid body 2D
I'm just gonna copy this and
and
we're going to
parentheses. This
paste
is
it down
now
here.
this body variable
And
will be
inside here,
initiated
we're just gonna
of
do it
rigid body 2D
right
from the
here.
very
That when our
beginning of
player
the game.
is moving right.
All right, now,
So now let's
I have
move
a
on.
challenge for you.
And I know what.
So
Maybe
now
later when you
we'll be
guys
making,
get
uh,
a little bit more experience.
I'm just gonna type this
greater
void-
than 0.
sorry, which means that when our player is moving on the right side,
Player
then we want our
movement
force
function
X in this function will
to
will
be a
configure our
positive value.
player's
Movement.
and this will be also
So the
positive.
we can
in here we'll make our player
is it
jump.
It's not
and,
done. I'm just gonna
move
say it's done.
on the x-axis
Let's see
or
if it works or not.
y-axis. So the first thing that
won't
we will
work.
do is let's make
Spoiler
our
alert.
player jump first.
All right. So,
So
if we
I'm
press
gonna make a play, comment and
our
type
player will only
make-
jump,
sorry,
but
make
can
the
only see the left
player
and right side, but
jump.
it cannot move.
Okay,
Why
and
is
so
that? Because
this is a bit tricky and
look
this
in
might
the
be new to you
console.
even if you are a C-sharp programmer.
it says
or even
the
a Java
variable
programmer,
force
doesn't matter.
x
So
is
the first thing we'll be
assigned,
doing is
but the value
if
is never used. Why is that?
we
Input
never use the value.
dot
It is assigned, but for what?
get button. Let's find it out. Remember,
Down.
when do you remember when I said that
Need to call this
force
function.
x variable
What this
will be
function
used
means
to
is
force our
whenever
player
we
to
give an
move
input
across
of a
the
specific
x-axis.
button, say if we press
That is
a
exactly
or
what
any
we'll be doing right now.
any keyboard buttons you
So
want to
if
use.
we just move
In
out of
here,
our if
in
condition
Unity engine,
and
these keyboard buttons are
type
pre-built. Say
body
if I type
dot add force
jump in here in Unity,
and
this
here
means that
type new
whenever we press
vector
space,
2.
our space bar on
Now,
our
new
computer or
vector 2.
laptop, what this means
player
is that
will
vector 2
jump.
means
I mean,
just the x-axis and
pressing the
y-axis.
space
You do
button
not
means
need the
this input.
z-axis, especially
here.
this jump
So,
input. This
in
is,
the
this is
vector
actually
2
in this
built
type
in
Unity engine.
force. So
X.
oh,
And this
we need to
force
do another thing.
You can see it says for float x and
That
float
is,
y,
in our
which means this
start
vector
function,
2 can take two parameters.
we need to take
one is
this
for the
jump. We have to make
x-axis
sure that
and
whenever
for the
our
y-axis. Whenever the
we
game
want our
starts,
add force
and when
to
the
make
player
our
is
player
on the
move
ground,
on
the x-axis
we'll
only, not on the
this
y-axis. So
is
we just
jumping
press
0.
is equals to false, which means now
Now,
our
if we
player
save
is
it,
not jumping.
And
Oh,
I'm sorry,
hoping
this
this should
work
work
now.
not
flow.
and this
is a
error
move
should go away.
Okay. Not
So
until
this
we
means
hit
that whenever
play.
the game
Look,
starts,
the
our
error
player's
has
is
gone away,
jumping variable
and
is
let's hit
false.
play.
Now, so if input.get button down, it means whenever I'm pressing the space button
It's
and
not moving for some reason.
is
Okay, let's
jumping
speed up.
is
Say
equals to
500.
false. This means that
Let's
whenever
see
we are
now.
pressing the space button and if our player
Whoa,
is not
too
jumping,
much speed, man.
then all right, let's
We'll
just
take it to
uh,
50.
fire this function. That is body means we will be accessing our rigid body,
Okay, it's not
and then we will
moving
be
either. I think our
implementing
gravity
a
is too
function
much.
called add force.
Let's just set
Add
our
force.
gravity to 0.5.
And now we will
and
be
our
adding something
speed,
called
what is our speed?
vector 2
to say
dot
100.
up. Vector 2 dot up. I think you
Just
play
get the
around
natural
with this
idea from
values
the
variable called
whoa,
vector 2
That's
dot
too much
up.
for me.
What this means
I'm
is
just going to
vector 2,
make
which
it
means
like
x and
60.
y axis only, no z axis.
Now you see why we
dot
made
up
the speed
means
variable
y
public.
axis. So vector 2
Yeah,
dot
okay.
up, and we're going to
That's too much.
multiply this.
You
with
can see our player is
upper
kind of
force.
sliding. We don't want that. To make sure
Now we
that
have
doesn't
something
happen,
called a force
we will,
to
increase
force our player
gravity scale to
on
1.
the y-axis,
Not our
which
gravity
means
scale, let's
up
increase our
against the gravity.
mass
I hope
to
I'm making
like
some sense in here.
2.
Okay, so
And
whenever we are
linear
implementing this,
drag
whenever our player is
to
about to jump,
Let's see
whenever
what
our
happens now.
player is jumping,
this kind of tricky.
then we need to make
it
this
might be
is
different
jumping
on your
equals to
laptop.
true.
I don't think
I
the
can
jump
make it
is
any
really
simpler
low.
than this. Okay.
Increase that by 200 force.
That was for the jumping method, and now we have to make sure that hang on, let's see what happens
Yeah.
if we just leave the code like this.
And that our player lands very slow.
If
If
we
that,
press-
my friend, is because our gravity is 0.5.
It won't
jump yet, I guess. If you have to, and I was
we have to
increasing my
we
linear
have to
drag
add something else to this.
2.5.
For example, we're almost done this for this video. Now,
Yeah, that's
if
great.
body dot velocity
Gonna increase that to
dot
600.
y, what body dot velocity
Play
dot
around
y
with this
means
and you will get the hang
is
of it.
that our player's y-axis velocity. So
Okay.
if this is
So in this
equals
next
to
tutorial, we'll be
0.
adding some animations on our player.
What this
And
means is if our
then
player
we
is
will
just
make our
standing on the
camera
ground,
to move
if
along
he's just
with our
standing
player.
there,
That is
which means
actually
his
a
y
trick.
velocity is 0. If he's just
I
standing
hope
there,
you're getting
we
what
have to
I'm
make
trying
this
to teach you
is
guys, because
jumping
this is the very fundamentals. This is not. I'm not gonna
equals- make
equals
any
to
gains
false.
just yet. I'm showing you
Also,
how the whole
You
thing
need to add
works,
another
how to access these
variable to it.
stuffs, how to make stuffs.
another if condition. That
This is
is
going to be
if
incomplete just training, and after
Body
you're done with all
dot
the basic stuffs, I will be
velocity dot
doing a live,
y
not live,
is
doing a whole project that you
greater
can actually
than
make a whole game.
0.
I'll be showing you how to make an entire game, which will really help you guys. So thank you guys
Now,
for watching,
now
and,
what we're
and
talking
again,
about
this video was
is
made for
if
Orange
our
Box Lab,
players-
and I'm the lead instructor of this company.
velocity is greater
So
than
hopefully
0.
I'll see you
Which
next
means
time.
if
If our player is already going up, if our player is going up, then we don't want him to jump again. So what we have to do is we have to do it. Oh, hang on. I'm sorry. If our player is going up, then you have to make sure that is jumping is equals to true. Which means if our player is going up, then this is jumping will be equal to true. So this function can no longer be executed. So what this means is if we press this get button down jump, when our player is jumping, then immediately this boolean is jumping will be equals to true. So it cannot jump again when it jumps once. So in our update function, let's just call this player movement. Come on. Player movement. This should work. Let's check this out. Yeah, it's done compiling, and if you hit play, it can jump. And now you see, if I press space, it will jump only once. Now, let's show you something else. If I comment this out, what will happen is, if you press play, come on, see it cannot jump anymore, because when I'm pressing space, our player is jumping, and this is jumping is equals to is getting true. So the variable is set to true. So whenever the variable is set to true, this function can no longer be initiated. So what happens is, if I hit play, we jump once, and our is jumping is being set to true. So now we cannot no longer jump again, which means this function this condition will no longer be true. Now say if we take this one out, Now let's see what happens. Now after we jump, we are setting the is jumping is equals to false. So why do we need this? Let's figure this out. Did we save that? I saved it. Okay, so let's hit play. Now if we press space, it jumps, but look, we can jump twice. One, oof. See, we can jump twice. Why we can jump twice is because when our body dot y is equals to 0, then our is jumping is turning to be false. So basically this body dot velocity dot y is equals to 0 only when our player is standing here on the ground. But our player is also jumping, and when we jump, at some point our y velocity turns to 0. So then is jumping turns into false, and we can execute this function again. So that's why we need this bit of condition. If we add this condition, what will happen is whenever y is greater than 0, is jumping will be equal to true, and this will never implement while jumping. So that was our player jumping method, and we can just